Hello. Okay. So we are ready to start. I just want to see that, so I can see the participants that are on the call. We've just got 3 minutes before we start. I hope everyone can hear me, can hear and see me. Okay, I can see, okay. Okay, everyone that joins, you're coming in a muted position. So we will give you a chance. We'll unmute you when we get to that time where you can say something. In the meantime, whilst we're waiting 1 more minute to start, just familiarize yourself with, there's a chat button. So if you want to say anything, and when we get to the stage when we do speak, we will allow you to then raise your hand. So if you can just make sure that you can see 2 buttons at the bottom of your screen. The one button must say, you must be able to see a chat button. And okay, I can see already, there's a, Gugu has already said hi Pam, so she's she's an attendee. And then, all right, we just need to just get, and so Judy has also said hi Pam, so we are together. Someone has asked a question, okay. Yes, all right. All of these functionalities that I'm working on here. Okay, so I think we're good to go. I'm just waiting for my colleague Dinasha to be able to share the presentation. Thank you very much. So, welcome everyone to the webinar. It is one of our first in a long time, and it is obviously our first in this time where we are all under lockdown. And why we're having the conversations, it was just to try and get us to find us something to do. Let me just get my earphones because I think. Okay. So just to get everyone onto the thing, why, if I were to, we move to the next slide, please. Just to say that given the times that we do have, that we felt it was necessary to have these conversations as part of the Zenande team, myself and the Zenande team, to say people are sitting at home under lockdown, different things that they faced with. And the more we look at statistics and what's happening around the world and in our country, the more depressing people get. So we thought we'll just allow or use our resources just to keep in touch, but also to have a platform that people can just engage. So just a little bit about who I am. My name is Pam Yago. I'm the Managing Director of Zenande Leadership Consulting, which is an organizational development and leadership development organization, which operates in South Africa. I'm a leadership coach, which is trained in the Enneagram. And also I work with the emotional maturity inventory. So I do a little work around emotional intelligence. I'm a member of Comensa, which is the organization of coaches in South Africa. And I have also written 2 books. The one is on women in leadership, which is available through Zenande, that Conversations That Matter. It's available through us, and we'll get to that, how you get hold of us at the end. And also another ebook, which is about unleashing the inner goddess. So those are the books that are available for you if you were interested in any of the stuff that I've written as a coach and as a member of Zenande. So just to get to, I just want to make sure that I've got everyone, I've got my control button here so that I can see that everyone is on here. So if I can get to the next slide, just to talk a little bit about why we're having these conversations. I think given where we are in the world and in our country, where there's just a lot of turmoil and the people are just feeling, hi Karen, I see Karen says it's good to see you virtually, thanks very much. Good to see you too. Hopefully I will be able to see you later when we get to the Q&A. Thanks for that. And I also see that there's a couple of other people on the call. Gugu Busisiwe Kumalo. Lebogang is also here. Hannah is also here, who says to everyone, it's nice to join everyone. Judy, I can see Judy. I can see, I think Lulu is struggling. If my colleagues from Zenande can just make sure that she gets the link. She's struggling to connect via the link. If Nandipa could just make sure that you get hold of Lulu and help her to connect. Bashni, I can see you, and there's I see. Okay, I see. I'm just also checking people that want to connect. They are sending me messages on the side, and I see Petunia is here. And there's so far about 21 people on the call, which is a good start. Tobile, I see you. I see Tobile has joined us. Welcome everyone. It looks like so far, apart from Lebogang, it's just ladies on the call. It's Lebogang on the. It's just the only male on the call. So I'm sure we've had other people confirm. So I'm sure they will be able to join us. So just to get us started, I am trying to speak and also trying to keep the controls here. So I'm multitasking, which is a woman's thing to do, but it can get a little bit, complicated. So we're also starting. So as Zenande team, we sat and we said, what can we do to be of service to our clients and our customers in these difficult times? And we really said we should try and keep in touch by having these conversations, which are aimed at sharing ideas and get people to talk. Because whatever we're going through, we are in this together. So that's the first reason why we thought we should have these. Secondly, these talks are also helping us in this time, because it's very easy when you're sitting under lockdown to just get into a mode of why me and feeling depressed. So shift the energies and try and get us to more positive thoughts. hopefully into actions and the things that we then tend to do. And then the third reason why we thought we should do this is that just to get everyone, you might be physically under lockdown, but you are not alone because you belong to a tribe. You belong to a tribe of people that share similar views, that are concerned about what's happening in the world, and more importantly, people that are concerned about growing themselves as individuals. So that we all concerned about personal development, and this is the best time to start looking at that. And the last thing that for me personally is also to connect with others, because the world is very depressing at the moment. South Africa, we've not only are we under lockdown, we've also been downgraded. So the economy is not doing well. So there's a lot of, if you watch TV, there's a lot of negative stories that people see. So given the negativity, so I had to find some positivity. And what do I do positively other than sharing with people? And secondly, is to also say, find other ways of connecting. And using this platform, which we're using for the first time, we did do an internal test earlier on, just to see what is out there from a technology point of view that we can use to continue with some of the work that we do, and what and also make sure that we don't lose our clients or lose our relationship. So we're all on this together. There might be some glitches. There's 3 of these that are coming, and this is the first one. The second one is on the 8th of which is basically in a week's time, on the 8th of April, and the last one is on the 15th. And hopefully we'll improve and familiarize ourselves with the technology as we move forward. This is a time of we are all dealing with a pandemic that we're trying to, as government says, we're trying to flatten the curve or hold the rate at which infections happen slow. So we need to make sure that more and more people firstly they remain safe, but also look to find ways of changing. And change is an important aspect of this. And change is the one thing. And if I can just ask, I see Lulu Gwagwa is trying to get hold of me. If Nandi Pao or anyone else from Zenande can try and assist her to get on the call, because I can't answer the phone as well whilst I am also doing this. So can I just ask my Zenande colleagues to make sure that you get hold of her and assist her to connect. So from my perspective, change brings an opportunity. So it's an opportunity to dig deep. It's an opportunity to look at things differently, and it's an opportunity to find different parts of us which are useful for moving us forward. Having said that, change is not easy. It's never easy because there are certain things that we are used to. There's certain ways that we are set in our ways as human beings. We wake up in the morning, do whatever routine that we go through, and we get to work oftentimes. So when that is disturbed, like it is now, when it's disturbed, it makes us feel unsettled. So change itself is not easy. Whilst at a cognitive level or in our minds, we understand why we need to be staying at home, but oftentimes our hearts and our bodies are not used to staying at home. So it's not an easy thing to get that connection in terms of what you think is right and what you feel is right is often sometimes a challenge. However, having said that, change is also inevitable. And again, we can't avoid change because it is the only constant. But at the same time, you can choose to grow, or you can choose to remain where you are. And I'm sure most of you have, by being part of this call, you also have chosen growth. And that's an important part about change. And lastly, I think, which a point I've already made, is that change is the only constant. So what I would like to do now is just to give you a chance, and also to introduce yourself, to see who else is on the call, and then allow you to get to say something. So I'm going to if I can get to the attendees. So this is a chance. There are 3 questions that I would like you to answer. The first question says, how is the lockdown impacting you on your life at the moment? The second one, how do I feel about this change in my personal and work life? And thirdly, what is my coping mechanism? So you don't have to answer all the questions. You can choose one question that you might feel that you want to share with the people that are on the call. So I'm gonna call on now, get the attendees. So whoever is ready to speak, you find that raise your hand button, and I will allow you to speak. So if you can say, allow, once you raise your hand, I will be able to, or put in the chat room that I would like to speak or say something. Or you can type okay, Zamaswazi wants to say something, so I will allow her to talk. Hello, Zamaswazi, and I've unmuted you. Can you unmute yourself? Because
okay, yes.
Awesome.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. I'm sure other people can hear you as well. Thanks. Over to you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be on this chat. I wanted to answer the first question. Oh, my name is Zamaswazi Cele. The first question of saying that, how is this lockdown impacting on my life currently? For me, this year, I had so many plans. Firstly, I applied for a scholarship to study in China. I was gonna leave South Africa in September or August, but interview were gonna be happening during this time. But now that has been stopped, and I just kind of feel like I don't know what to do anymore, because this year for me, I thought last year I was gonna dedicate the whole of this year studying, doing my master's, but not in South Africa, just outside South Africa. So now I don't even know what do I want to do anymore. Like, I don't have a plan B, because I have been having a hard time at work. And when I thought, now, okay, let me shift everything, my career, towards finding myself. And that meant for me doing something out of my comfort zone. I just don't know. I don't have plan B. I don't know even how to cope with it. Whether by June must I be looking for a university in South Africa, because it looked like one of my biggest goal that I wanted is not going to be achieved. And I don't know how to feel about that, or to bounce back to life on its own.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to stop you from talking. Just, Zamaswazi, just to say that, I mean, it is, I think it would require quite a substantive engagement with yourself. And I'm quite happy to do that. And I will, at the end, give my details at the end, if you don't mind. But thanks for sharing and joining us on the call. Gugu is the next one. Can you unmute yourself? Okay.
Hi, Pam.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, everyone on the call. Firstly, thank you very much, Pam, for arranging this. I don't think you have an idea of how much this was needed, just to engage with other people and de-stress. So I'm also going to answer question 1. I think it overlaps with question 2. You know, I've just finished a year running a girls' school. And the pressure of being responsible for so many young lives and not being and feeling helpless in the process and not being able to figure out what do you say to them. I mean, it was one thing to get them to get home, but not being in control of what is happening in their spaces now is freaking me out, because I know that the girls that I'm responsible for are girls that don't have the kind of access to some of the things that we have. So that some of the outlets that we talk about, they don't have. And I'm just, every time I see something that is happening in any community, I get terrified that, you know, they might get sick, you know. So the loss of control over their well-being is driving me absolutely crazy. And I'm feeling helpless at this moment. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Gugu. I'm going to disable you from talking. So I've got Petunia and Petsile as the next speaker. So I still would come back to that. Just to say that, Gugu, I think, I mean, I feel you. And I think sometimes with the roles that we play, we often take on too much that more than we should be taking on. I think it is a big challenge. But I'm sure the girls that you look after, which you love very much, as I know you do, they also have the level of resilience that they can tap into in these difficult times. But I would say, do worry, but not too much, because I think all of us have got the ability to bounce back. And that's the one thing that change gives us, its ability to deep and find those resources within us that make us to be who we are. Pat, you're the next one, but thanks for that. So I'm going to allow you to talk. I've unmuted you. Can you, Petsile, I've allowed you to talk. Unmute. Yes, you've got the floor. And then Judy after that.
Okay, so my name is Petsile, and interesting for me, this lockdown, I've started seeing it as a gift. At the end of last year, with a lot of the work commitments and a lot of the things that I had gotten involved with, I did start experiencing a bit of overwhelm, feeling a bit like I had been, you know, when you have a boss and your boss keeps mounting things on your desk. But the irony for me was I don't have a boss, I'm self-employed. And I started to wonder, how am I in this situation? What am I doing that has led me to commit so much? And I actually had a desire for what I called empty space. And voila, it didn't happen the way I anticipated, but 2 days into the lockdown, I started feeling this is what you actually wanted. You wanted space to do different kind of work that's more reflective, that's more creative, that's more about you, and you needed the space to be able to develop this kind of work. It doesn't happen in the middle of the day. It actually requires, you know, the peace, the tranquility, and the calmness that is beginning to settle in me during the lockdown. So yeah, I think it's going to facilitate quite a big personal and work life shift for me when I emerge out of it, because it's given me some time to sort of redefine my work and not take it on in the manner that I did over the past 3 to 4 years. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And I'm glad to hear that, because I mean, I think there's the thing about the beauty of this call is that I don't have all the answers. So other people, as they're sharing their story, I'm sure people are getting ideas. And there is a chat button if you want to add anything and come back. And I've got Judy as the next person. And Judy, I'm going to allow you to talk. Okay, Judy?
Okay,
Thank you.
How's that?
Yes, that's better.
Hi, sorry. I'm Judy Ditchfield. I'm a facilitator and trainer and business role player, and as well as an actor. So this has been a huge impact on our lives. We started off the year looking very busy, and we're really excited about what the year was going to bring. And it's become very, very, very quiet. So I think we've done 4 days work this year. So it's been a huge time for reflection for me personally, as well as our company. And I have to admit, I'm a bit of a control freak. So this lack of control has been a huge adjustment, because suddenly there is no ways we can control the situation. So I think that's been my lesson, and that's where I am right now and where I'm feeling. I'm excited because it's pushing me to see things differently. I'm also anxious because I feel there were a lot of people relying on the work we would provide. So that's a bit of an anxiety. But I'm also really appreciating the time to just try and let go and stay present. Because at times like this is where we start panicking and looking forward and looking back. And I just want to reflect and stay in the moment and see what I can do right now. So that's where I am. Thanks, Pam.
Oh, thanks, Judy. And that's very useful. I've also got Sia, who's raised her hand, so I'm gonna take her. Sia, you've got the floor. Sia. Maybe she'll come back. Can you type on and tell us what, I don't know, because according to me on this side, you should be able to speak. I've got Notemba as the next person on the list. So I will, in the meantime, allow, Sia, still not able to talk? I see your microphone doesn't look like it's on.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Now you can talk, yeah?
Awesome, all right. My PC has been giving me trouble for quite some time. Hi guys, my name is Sia. Pretty much at this point in time, the lockdown is giving me a great deal of anxiety, because the place that we're working at, as a combination of the fact that they had been underperforming with regards to their own internal sales, and as a result of the lockdown, have been underperforming, and so we've been undergoing retrenchment proceedings, and I've been one of the people, well, the only person it seems at the company who has been directly affected by the retrenchment proceedings. So the lockdown has caused a non-small amount of stress for me, and it's been a little bit tough to reckon with this amount of anxiety and stress while being at home and not being able to do very much in the way of trying to find a solution, because all of the companies that I could possibly apply to at the moment are also frozen. So it's been a bit of an anxiety-filled ride at the moment, but I'm trying to take it day by day.
Thank you. I'm so sorry to hear that. It is a difficult time though, for many people, and it's affecting us in different ways. And I suppose one of the things that we're going to have to do, I know I've got other coaches on the call, is to try and look for support and help that you can get. I've got 3 more hands coming up. It's the next one is Tobile. I'm going to allow Tobile to. I've unmuted you, Tobile.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tobile Mhlongo. Once again, Pam, thanks for this platform. I just wanted to share my insights in terms of how I've experienced the lockdown. In the beginning, I was very panicking because the unknown is very unsettling. However, once I understood what is coming, I then started making plans. I'm a very routine person, a very structured person. So I literally maintained the same structure as I would if I was waking up, going to work. So I wake up at the same time, 6 o'clock every morning, and go to bed at the same time around about midnight. And how I've filled up my time, I've actually, over and above just the work commitments at this point in time, I've actually started LinkedIn Learning, which was something very new that the organization Saga introduced to all employees, and I'm really enjoying that. I'm also currently exploring the academic side of myself, reading a lot about leadership studies and research papers that have been written over the years by MPS students and PhD students, and it's very insightful. And what
Sorry, Toby, I pressed a wrong button. Okay. Can you finish off?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've also joined an online community forum where all the residents here in Fourways also share about their experiences. So it's very insightful and very makes one feel very connected. So how do I feel about the lockdown? Definitely my perspective in terms of working from home has changed. It has taken a new meaning, as well as also my perspective on routine, and in terms of other feelings with regards to managing my anxiety around being far away from my parents, who also are not sure how they should be handling the lockdown. But overall, this time has been a learning journey to getting to know more about myself, about my work, about colleagues, about life, about relationships as well, as a whole. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm going to disable you and allow Notemba as the next speaker. And I've unmuted you. Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
There
we
go.
can.
Thank you, Coach Pam, for the platform. So I think for me, it's been a couple of weeks of just turmoil, maybe what I could call disruption. But I'm beginning to choose the disruption and the dislodgement and the uncertainty and the anxiety. I'm choosing to see it as a way in. It's like it's a doorway to unlocking something. So I saw something on Facebook from one of the coaches that she's using unlocking, as the word rather than lockdown, because lockdown feels a bit negative. But what is it that I can unlock as part of this lockdown period? And so for me, I'm literally leaning into things that can unlock, whether it's spiritual, whether it's creativity, whether it's how I think differently, how I behave differently, how I engage differently. And so I'm really, when you talk about coping mechanisms, I'm really digging deep in terms of, the practices that I know are good for me. So the things that I've always wanted to do, the things that I know are good for me are the things that I'm investing the time in order to unlock more. And I suppose by unlocking, it could be, the creativity that is laying dormant because we just don't have the time to explore and discover it. So I'm choosing to use this time to just, to unlock more of me. Thank you.
Oh, thanks very much. Those are useful insights. I'm going to take Fatima as the next speaker, which is the last one, if I may, so that we can move on a little bit. Fatima, are you able to speak? Let me unmute you. Can you unmute yourself on your side, Fatima? Okay, I think you look like you're connected now.
Hi, Pam. Thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it. Some people seem to be handling it and others, and I don't know now where I am. I'm like a yo-yo. So I find it a combination of very stressful and anxious, feeling like I'm going into a bit of a depression because I'm self-employed. I've been managing my own time, and things I've been sitting up and things were getting moving, and just as things were really starting to take off, it's now this lockdown. On the other hand, I'm grateful that I have my 84-year-old father and my asthmatic son with me. My home is safe. We have fiber, Wi-Fi, a garden. You know, it's not terrible. We have food. I am grateful, but I'm finding that I'm slowly being forced to feel. I've been avoiding thinking. I've downloaded exercises, but I haven't exercised them. I've made the to-do lists, but I haven't done anything. Been trying to pray, but not focus. Try to do yoga, just kind of floaty. And today I decided, okay, I have to commit to a few things. So I committed to this webinar and another one tomorrow. I have found out who I need to contact in Gauteng. I think you remember I am a nurse by training. So I want to be active and volunteer and get involved, because I think that's going to maybe motivate me.
Okay. Thanks, Fatima, and thanks for everyone that has said something. So just to acknowledge that I think it is a difficult time for everyone, and I think I do like Notemba's framing of it. And also just looking at our creative side. It is not going to be an easy time, unfortunately. And I think depending on what you read and or what media you listen to, that it's going to be a little bit, it's going to get worse before it gets better. But I think we all have, we have a community. This is just one of the things that we can do. And I like Tobile in terms of what you're saying, keeping your routine and making sure that you at least continue to do that and finding things to do. But the anxiety doesn't always go away, but it's also an opportunity for us to dig deep and find that part of us that is resilient, that is about dealing with change, that is about tackling things as they come to us, knowing, but doing that in a way that is that there's compassion. So we're not hard on ourselves in the way we feel, and also being in touch with our vulnerability. Because if we're not in touch with our vulnerability, we're not going to be able to know. To Fatima's point about, I also feel I've been thinking about things, but I also want to feel more. So getting in much more deeper in terms of our own ways of looking at things and starting to get in touch with our hearts and just stay in the feelings, because we don't always do that because we are in a world that we have to do a lot all the time, and we sometimes miss the opportunity to feel things and be in touch with who we are and how we're feeling about it, and then express it for other people to know. So and for me, I'm finding quite a lot of useful comments that people are making to help with my own coping. We're only on day 5. So it's going to be useful, and it is useful already what I'm getting from the call. And I just want us to keep the conversations going. And I'll get to how we do that just now. If I can move us a little bit, I just thought I'll leave you with 4 tips just to deal with, not necessarily on Corona necessarily, but just in terms of dealing with change. And those for me are 4 things. One is being clear, and I'll come back to each one of them just now. Adopting a growth mindset, building good habits, and also be mindful of the company I keep. Starting with the first one around clarity. I've done 2 things with that. We've given you a little bit of what does clarity mean, and resources, in fact, both a TED talk on the right-hand side by Simon Sinek, who talks about finding your why, which is about clarity, and also a book that you could read at this time. Those of us that might be lucky enough to be able to be on Kindle or able to get books online at this time. But clarity comes when you least expect it. And I think what being with ourselves at this time helps us, gives us an opportunity to go and find out, what do we really want to be in the world? How do you want to show up? And why do we do the things that we do? Okay. But it's also trusting our intuition in a moment of no resistance, because the more we are with ourselves, the more we are in touch with our own, or able to deal with the resistance. There will always be an element of anxiety and fear. It's all part of us, but I suppose part of the journey is about knowing that the fear is there, embracing the fear and acknowledging it, but not allowing it to consume you or be the one thing that consumes your thinking and your way of being. Easier said than done, because it's easier to say just snap out of it. But I think what I'm also saying, the more clear we are in terms of who we are, how we want to be in the world, and the things that we want to achieve, the better it is in terms of dealing with this time. So it's time to journal. It's time to write about our ambitions. It's time for those of us that have not done vision boards, start to work on our vision boards and get clarity really in terms of who want to be. The second point I would like to leave you with relates to adopting a growth mindset. Okay. Again, I've given you resources, both a TED Talk as well as a book that you can read. And the growth mindset actually is embracing the challenge. It is here. We can't act like we don't have. We're not in a situation where we are in the world, but we need to embrace it. We need to, including embracing our feelings, how we feel about it, and also knowing that it is not the end of the world. It is adopting a spirit of, I'm not going to give up. I might be slow. I might go deeper in some areas, but I'm not going to give up. Self-compassion, I can't make this point any more than I have, because sometimes you watch other people, they seem to be, if you're on social media, you will see that people they post the meals that they've been cooking, they post their exercise routine, and if you're sitting there and you haven't exercised, you haven't started joining a group like this, and you haven't done a lot of that stuff, and you start to feeling like you're the odd one out. So it is being compassionate with yourself, because not all of us are able to respond at the same time. And also, this is a journey. One day, as Fatima was saying, one day you will feel better. Another day you're going to feel okay. You're going to feel like, I don't know what's going on. And I think the world is ending. And I feel so anxious, and I feel so, I think things are going to get worse. And you listen to a television program, it says, and you listen to the statistics and you think, oh Lord, what's going to happen? So it's also about knowing that this is a journey. There might be criticism when you have a growth mindset. It's also finding what's in it for me. Is there something that I can take from that? Helping and nurture others. This is for me an important point, which is what the work I do is about helping and nurturing others, but not forgetting myself in the process. And finally, believing in possibilities. This too shall pass. You could take a spiritual approach to it, or a religious approach to it, and say this is not the end of the world. God is in control. Or you could take another approach, depend on your own spirituality. You could take another approach and say that actually, what are the possibilities, as Coach Petsile was saying, that are posed by being in this space. So we take a growth mindset. By the way, all of these slides, the people that did register, we will email them to you. So you will get the slides. Just make sure that you read, but I suppose once you're on the call, you would have registered. We'll use the email address that you use for registering, and we'll send you the slides. The third thing that I would like to share relates to habits. Already we started talking about some of those habits, and that is some of the habits that, habits are the things that we would tend to do. Sometimes we're conscious of what those are, and sometimes we are not so conscious of what our habits are. And good habits are habits that serve us. And again, I must make a point here that what might be a good habit for you might not necessarily be a good habit for me. So everyone's habits are different, and the good ones, for some people, exercising every day or running a marathon every weekend is a good habit. For someone else, it's not. Previous slide, please. I've also given you resources here. There's a TED Talk, which is also about dealing with habits. So you can find that TED Talk and listen to it during this time or any other time. And there is a classic, I love this book by Stephen Covey, which talks about the 7 habits of highly effective people. And I find this to be, for me, helped me a lot in terms of shaping who I am today. He's also got another one called the 8 Habits, which people can also read during this time. And lastly, and then it is the last point, which is a little bit of a cheeky point, and that is being mindful of the company you keep. The more negativity that you keep around yourself, the more you're going to find that life is much more difficult. And I listened to a talk recently when someone was saying, and Vusi Thembekwayo was talking about this. And I think for me it resonated, because sometimes we feel guilty by the choices that we make in life. So he says he grew up in a township, and he loves cars, and he goes on about how much he loves cars, as most men do. And then he says that what he's finding with life is that he goes to, because he loves cars, he watches Formula One, he goes to those shows that I don't even know what they're called. But he says that what had been a problem for him for a while is that, but because of his choices and what he has liked in life, and and he has been feeling guilty because the people that he grew up with, there's nothing that is common other than coming from the same gas or from the same township. So I guess the important thing here, especially at this time, unfortunately, if you lock down with family, there's so much choices that you do have, but you can always take the time to be on your own and just and make sure that you feed your soul in many ways. But I also know that the company we keep sometimes, there's lots of negativity. It doesn't mean that you're not open to criticism. They're just people in life, they always look at the negative side of life. And one of the things and the choices that you make, you can live with that environment and find yourself being a negative, or you can make a different choice. And by company, it's not just for me, the people. I also find that, for example, watching TV sometimes could be the company I keep. You watch TV and all you hear are negative stories and things that are going wrong in the world. And I think this time, whilst I think, the few times that I've watched TV, it's what has gone wrong with this period that we're in. It's the people that the government has not provided food for. It's this and that. And I'm not saying government is doing everything that they need to be doing, but I think they're doing a lot for us. So for me, by more I listen to these negative stories, and some of them are on social media, and people will just post things that are about negativity. I had a conversation with Google in the week about unblocking people, just deciding that actually I'm going to start unblocking people, blocking people, because what you're seeing and the energy that they bring in your wall or in their walls, if they have your friends on Facebook or you follow them on Insta or whatever, they just part of the company that you keep. And it is those choices that you always have a choice to make. And then again, there's another TED talk on it that is available on the thing, and there's a book that I do love about tribes. And who is your tribe? And knowing who's your tribe helps you to then, at these times, find your advisory committee. I call it an advisory committee. The people that I consider to be friends, the people that I consider to be mentors, there's people that are coaches that I speak to when I'm looking for a different kinds of connection. And it's being conscious and avoiding the people that will not feed my soul in terms of what I need at the moment. I've already said it doesn't mean that I should block anyone who says something that is somewhat negative or a criticism, but it must be a positive criticism. And I think everyone knows when someone is pulling you down or someone is just giving you useful and constructive feedback. I'm going to allow us, before those are the 4 things I would like to leave you with, but just before I close, I've got a bit of time that if anybody wants to just for the next 5 minutes, just give a comment on any of what we've spoken about today, or come back or say anything. The floor is open. So, okay, if those people that have joined slightly late, at the bottom of the screen, there is something about raising your hand. So I'm gonna go there. I can see an attendee has raised their hand, but I can't see who. Oh, Judy. Oh, thanks, Judy. I've allowed you to talk. Okay.
Is that Josie? I think I came in on it's Josie Broderick here, Pam.
Oh, yeah.
Hi. I just wanted to say that in addition to what you were talking about, just be careful of the company you keep, or mind the company you keep. Judy has been actively posting positive things, and her son is actually doing a daily vlog to up people's energy. And I think it's something that we can really be mindful of, is how we actually contribute to making it better for other people out there, the positive input that we also put out there. It's not only about what other people are doing.
Awesome. And Josie, is it possible to just type in the chat thing if people would be able to get those positive things, if you want to share where they could find that? I'm sure they'll find it useful. Okay, I'll add that to everyone so that people can just access that when they need to. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to lower your hand. Thanks. Is there anybody else at this stage who wants to say something? Okay, Fatima, you've got the floor. Okay, there we go. Yes, Fatima, you've got the floor. Yeah.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you so much for putting this together. You know, it was a bit of a last minute thing for me when I saw it and I joined, but listening to other people and seeing what they're going through, but the tips to embrace change, I'm finding very, something that I can hold on to, and something that I can focus on, and maybe see what is the positive input I can put out there. And maybe that, mindful of the company you keep, just get out of the social media stories of people dying and how bad it is and how long it's going to take. And the growth mindset I love as well, and being a bit gentle, compassionate with myself. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Is there any other hand? Okay, not timber. Okay, allowed to talk. And then, yes.
Yes. I think for me, Coach, it's what you said about this too shall pass. And I think for me, I'm holding on to that everything in life has got a cycle, everything has got a beginning, everything has got an end. And if I can hold on to, I guess, the principle of impermanence and not worry about the day to day, but the fact that this whole corona pandemic has got a cycle, then at least in terms of managing my anxiety and managing this entire disruption, I feel like I'm a lot more in control. So yeah, the principle of impermanence is also a way of coping.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, Kupano. I'm going to allow you to talk and then unmute you. Okay. Should be able.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, I love that we all got together to share, because, you start to feel like you're the only one feeling what you're feeling. So it's really cool that we did this, because I can't watch one more hour of the news. I think what you mentioned about tribes is so important. I mean, I'm sharing the space with my mom and my brother, and I'm finding that they're watching the news like 24/7. And I don't want to be antisocial, but it's important to pull myself away, recharge in a mindful manner. And what I'm trying to do a lot of is, when I do get the negative thoughts, that I work hard to change that and change my perspective, and check myself. It's interesting how easy it is to think negatively, because a lot of the stuff on the news and in the media is pretty negative. And not to say Corona is positive, but we have to work hard to just stay positive. And yeah, thank you to all the ladies that contributed some ideas. I mean, I'm looking at LinkedIn Learning now, and yeah, this is great. Thank you so much, Pam.
Pleasure. Okay. All right. I don't know. I've got. Okay. All right. Bashni. Now unmute. Thank you. Bashni, you've got the floor.
Thank you, Pam, and thank you to the ladies. And thanks everyone for sharing. It's been quite uplifting for me to know that there's a wider sense of togetherness that we have, and not just within the company that I keep. I'm quite grateful that the company I keep has not been too negative, so that's great. But it's wonderful to know that there's a greater unity out there beyond my immediate circle. So this has been very positive for me, and I'm grateful to everyone for sharing and being part of this conversation. Thanks, Pam.
Pleasure. I've got Nokwanda as the next speaker. I've unmuted you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Pam, and thank you everybody for participating and for sharing. I just want to reflect that for me, in the beginning, of the epidemic, now pandemic, I had a lot of mixed emotions, of feelings of hopelessness and helplessness, and the fear that of the worst that could happen. And then it was also fueled now by the media, social media. And since I have decided to step off the media and the social media, and also I've been trying to ground myself with meditations, daily meditations, and processing. I don't know if you guys know, there's Brandon Bayes, the journey processes. They're posting every day on the processes also to deal with to deal with fear consciousness and realization techniques, etc. So right now I'm feeling I'm feeling very calm, and I'm actually very grateful to learn quite a few tips from the group. Thank you, Pam. And then if anybody would like to process deeper, especially the feelings of fear and anxiety, I'd be willing to assist if they are and when they are ready at no charge. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Won't you just type in your details so that anyone wants to connect and be in touch? Nogwanda, alternatively, people can contact us for that, and then we can assist as well in case we run out of time. But thanks for the offer. And
okay, thank you.
I had two more hands. I think I had, no, yes, I had Judy.
Pam?
Yes.
Just two little things. I'd like to ask a question, if I may. Sorry, I dropped out a bit, so I hope I'm not repeating anything anybody said. But just somebody was talking about, and I came into the conversation, I can't remember who it was talking about getting into that negative space, which I think we're all going in and out of at the moment. And I got into a habit of trying to do a gratitude diary to take me out of there, even when I didn't really feel anything at that stage I could think about to be grateful for. And today is my 20th out of 21 days gratitude diary. But I found that helps me so much. Just start focusing on the positive rather than me focusing on my negative, if that makes any sense. So I don't know, it might not be helpful to others, but it's helpful to me. No. But the one question I just wanted to ask, a lot of people have spoken about almost a sense of grief through this phase. And I remember early in the week, I just wept all the time. And I'm quite a toughie. I like to think I'm a bit of a toughie. I am an empath, so I do feel things quite deeply, but I kept on weeping. And I know a lot of people have said to me, they are weeping a lot. What is this grief that we are going through? I know it's a hard time, and we're watching people suffering, and I think that's killing me, watching how people are struggling. But what is the process that we're going through, if you can give us some insight?
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Is there anybody that can help with that? Who wants to comment on what? Let me just get Judy, lower her hand, disabled talking. Nokwanda, I've got you, and I will allow you to speak. Okay. Oh. Technology sometimes can be. Okay. Can you speak now?
I was saying thanks, Judy. I think, I don't know why people are weepy, but I think it's the consciousness of fear. It's the consciousness of helplessness and hopelessness that is and has engulfed humanity at this point in time. And that is all I can think. I feel is happening. I also have been I've been crying right through as well.
Okay, I've got Sia as well that wants to say something, so I'm going to give her a chance to say something. Allowed to talk and unmute.
Awesome. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, fantastic. I think it's more of everyone grieving the year that was supposed to be. Wow. Oh, there it is. I think it's more of everyone grieving the year that was supposed to be, because everyone was expecting that 2020 was going to be their year, where all these wonderful expectations, all of these wonderful things that we were wanting to do, we wanting to plan things, wanting to get out, we wanted to finally start our business, maybe get things done. And now all of a sudden we're in a space where we're not able to do all of those things anymore. And as a direct result, or maybe indirect result, or maybe unexpected outcomes of the quarantine, of the economy suddenly falling in on itself, or maybe underperforming, that these things are suddenly less possible, and it scares us all, and it's frightening, and we don't know what's going on. So that sense of grief, I would think, is as a result of all of these conflicting feelings that are conflicting against that feeling of hopefulness that we all had at the beginning of the year. Suddenly being faced with the current reality that we're sitting with, it's hard to reconcile, and so we're all just grieving.
I think your comms have gone. So we'll So thanks for that. I'm gonna take Notemba because I'm conscious that we've come on the top of the hour, and those people that would have only had, I don't want to encroach on your time. Please feel free to. I've left some contact details, and I'm gonna post something else on grief later on, because I think that's something that's a useful thing to talk about, Judy, and I can send you some stuff on that as well. But I've got Notemba's got a hand up. Coach Notemba.
I just wanted to comment about the grief part, and I don't know if it's grief for me or just sadness, but I think for me the positive aspect of grief, maybe not just for me but for the world, is that we are connecting to our humanity. Because I think if we didn't feel sad and we didn't feel the grief and we didn't feel compassion for another, we wouldn't be connecting to the wider, I guess, human community that is out there. And so maybe that's a good thing. That's a good thing that we, not only are we connecting to our humanity, but also maybe the other positive aspect of it. I know we're hearing every day about death, but I think from me, from a spiritual perspective, it's also not to be in denial of our own mortality. And so for me, I've been meditating a lot about just the denial of death, about mortality, about beginnings, about endings, and about surrender, actually, because some of these things are not in our control. So that's my offering. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna have to end it here, and then say that if you do, we've got there's a thing, a link on our website, zenandaleadership.com. There's a link on Ask Pam. So if you do want to have a conversation, or you're looking for details of anyone that was on the call, or someone that you think said something that you're interested in and you wanted to be connected on, just send me a note on there. And I do write a blog, and do on this. I suppose the next one I'm going to write about is just this time. It's a 2-weekly blog, so I'm going to write something about it as well. To be nice to get your views as we had on this call. And then lastly, we have a group on Facebook that's called Pam the Coach Group. It's a women-only faith, and just type, I suppose, and ask for permission to join the group. That's on Facebook. Just another point of connection. This is we will be at this time next week. We have another of this. So we've got your details now. We will send it to you. Please make sure we've got capability to take up to 100 people. So obviously, the more people that we have, the less conversation that we're going to have. I mean, I suppose it is what it is. But we'll try our best to make sure that we accommodate everyone. But I would like to thank everyone for attendance and taking the time. And it is a difficult time, but it's also a time for us to be in touch with ourselves. We've had a lot of tools that are being used by others and ways of coping. And I hope I've been writing for myself and some of my takeaways in this, and also just shifting the way I look at things. And I just want to say to everyone, thanks for attendance. hopefully see you all next week, same time, 2 o'clock. And we will send a link and we will advertise a link for that session. If not, if you don't get your link or your link, please go on the website of Zenanda and say, where's my link? And invite others to come too. And we will probably have a better grip of the technology next week. And the more we use it, the better it is. But thanks for everyone for coming, and have a good week, and see you soon. Bye-bye.